And I'm curious how you think seed oils might just overall be affecting the metabolism, or do they have any unique localized effects on thyroid harms?
Yeah, I mean, again, there's Ray Peat has published a lot of interesting research here on polyunsaturated fatty acids in general, even more broad than seed oils. The seed oils are omega-6 rich linoleic acid, but you know, polyunsaturated fatty acids in general are potentially stressful for the human body. The more double bonds a molecule has, the more of an oxidative load it has. So there's evidence that at almost every level of thyroid hormone production, release, and binding, polyunsaturated fatty acids can interfere. They can interfere with the production of thyroid hormones. They can interfere with the release of thyroid hormones. They can displace thyroid hormones and vitamin A from transthyretin, which is one of the carrier proteins for thyroid hormones. And they can potentially interfere with T3 binding to its receptor within the cells or at a cellular level. So at every level, polyunsaturated fatty acids are potentially problematic. In the mitochondria, I think that increased incorporation of polyunsaturated fatty acids into the membranes creates an oxidative stress. And your
Mm.
body is just managing a leaky membrane. And so you have to think that it's just basic organic chemistry, right? We need some balance of saturated and unsaturated we need some balance of saturated and unsaturated fatty acids for membranes to attain the proper fluidity. But if you eat more polyunsaturated fatty acids, your membranes will contain more polyunsaturated fatty acids. This is very important to understand. The human body can make saturated fat and interconvert that with monounsaturated fat, but we don't make polyunsaturated fat. So we store what we eat. So the composition of our fat cells, of our membranes, of our brain is directly proportional to the amount of polyunsaturated fatty acids we eat, and more is
Mm.
not better. Historically, ancestrally, polyunsaturated fatty acids were in short supply. We don't have seed oils before 100 years ago, and nuts are very, very rare, seasonal, and very hard to obtain. And so consumption of polyunsaturated fatty acids by indigenous cultures is 1 to 2% max of their calories.
Hmm.
Today, we're upwards of 10 to 15%. We're 10 plus X on the polyunsaturated fatty acids. And I think there's an evolutionary mismatch here that's creating problems for humans. We live in this interesting world today where we get to be in houses and I get to talk to you via photons and electrons and the Ethernet and satellites. But we have to understand that our bodies still expect us to be living the same way our ancestors did 75,000 years ago. And just because certain things are in more supply today, polyunsaturated fatty acids being the current topic of conversation, especially in junk foods, but also in the feed of animals we're eating, doesn't mean that it's okay for us. And if we do things that are evolutionarily discordant, we run into problems as humans. And I think this is the main issue with polyunsaturated fatty acids. And I will say this, I think that excess fish oil is also problematic for humans.
Mm.
And this is something that doesn't get talked about a lot. I think that, yes, at some level, mild supplementation with omega-3 fatty acids is beneficial for humans. But I think we lose that effect fairly quickly when we cross the barrier over which the human body has trouble managing the oxidative load of polyunsaturated fats. There's good evidence that at doses greater than 4 grams a day, these omega-3 fatty acids in fish oils increase the incidence of atrial fibrillation, which is a heart arrhythmia. I think that's
Mm.
just the tip of the iceberg. So these urgings, from health influencers to just increase your omega-3s over and over, up and up and up, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I really disagree with this. I think that for most people, if you are eating egg yolks, you are eating grass-fed meat, you are getting all the omega-3s you need. There's absolutely no need to supplement with a fish oil. And if you look carefully at your fish oil, I can show you multiple papers showing that the peroxide index is quite high and that the
Mm.
level of oxidation in those fragile oils is higher than you would probably want to be consuming in the first place. You can get your omega-3s from fish as well, but I'm getting a little off topic here. I'll just say that I increasingly feel that fish is not a good source of nutrition and nourishment for humans because of the overall heavy metal load, the microplastics, the PFAs, which are the forever chemicals. Fish literally swim in everything that we're putting out into the ocean. And so they're swimming in our, refuse. And so they are in some ways filtering everything that's in the oceans. And if you look at the levels, at all levels of fish, even down to salmon or sardines, it's kind of striking in shellfish. Like, I've seen this over and over and over again. It's incontrovertible in my mind. If you eat fish more than once or twice a week, your heavy metals are going to be elevated, unquestionably.
Mm.
And the connections between heavy metals and problems in human physiology are also pretty clearly laid out. So, I mean, Huberman has evidence this. He said, "Oh, I did my blood work and my mercury was high." Well, of course it was, dude. You ate tuna a couple times a week. This is not rocket science. Fish is not as healthy as people think it is. Maybe it was 200 years ago or 300 years ago, but look, I like branzino, I like sea bass, I like king salmon, these mahi mahi. It's delicious, and it comes with a risk. I mean, scallops, shrimp, it's great. Lobster, it all comes with attendant risks now, and you have to be aware of that. I did my heavy metals recently, and they were all quite low. I was really happy about this. Lead, mercury, cadmium, and arsenic were very low. I don't eat any fish. And this isn't to say that there's zero heavy metals in other foods. Cacao can have heavy metals. I'm really proud of what we did at Heart and Soil, sourcing a very low heavy metal cacao for our chocolate whey protein. Meat has heavy metals, but much lower than fish, depending on the sourcing. I mean, everything has heavy metals. It's just a matter of how much you're getting. So yeah, it's something to think about there as well.